In the sun-drenched, quiet streets of Deltona, Florida, where palm trees sway gently in the warm breeze and the hum of daily life rarely falters, there was a woman who lived a life that seemed anything but ordinary. Her name was Kimberly Ann Shopper, and she was not your average business owner. She was not a woman who simply ran a shop in the middle of an ordinary town. No, Shopper's life, her passions, her desires, her very existence, was built on the strange, the unusual, and the macabre. But behind the curiosity shop, Wicked Wonderland, where oddities from the bizarre and morbidly fascinating were sold, there was a dark, twisted secret that few could have ever imagined. A secret that, once uncovered, would expose a crime so grotesque, it would leave the community reeling and the world questioning the depths to which obsession and greed could drive a person. At first, Wicked Wonderland appeared to be an innocent business, a quaint little shop tucked away in the heart of Orange City, selling everything from gothic trinkets and taxidermy to obscure artifacts and rare oddities. The shop seemed like the perfect haven for those fascinated by the bizarre. Students, artists, and collectors seeking a piece of history or a glimpse into the strange world of curiosities. It had its charm, drawing in the curious and the peculiar, and Kimberly Shopper seemed to be the ideal eccentric hostess for such a business. She welcomed everyone with a smile and a story about her latest acquisition, always making it clear that her passion was far more than just a business, it was a lifestyle. Her customers, both regulars and first-timers, left Wicked Wonderland enchanted, captivated by the oddities that surrounded them. But then, in the winter of 2023, something happened that would rip the facade of Shopper's carefully constructed world apart. Authorities, acting on an anonymous tip, would discover the truth behind her business, and the revelation would make headlines across the country. Kimberly Ann Shopper had been buying and selling human bones online. It began with a tip, a whisper from someone who had heard about a strange online marketplace, a place where human remains were being sold without any questions asked. It was a chilling suggestion, one that few would have believed if they hadn't seen the evidence with their own eyes. But as investigators scoured the Facebook marketplace, a shocking truth emerged. Shopper, through her Wicked Wonderland page, had been selling human bones openly. Listings of skull fragments, vertebrae, ribs, and even whole skulls were plastered across the platform for eager buyers to snatch up. For some, it seemed like an innocuous venture, a way to make extra money off the strange and the peculiar. But for law enforcement, this was no trivial matter. The bones were human remains, and the act of buying and selling them was a violation of both state and federal laws. Shopper's online presence, once a charming facade of the eccentric shopkeeper, now became the center of an investigation that would expose not only her illegal actions, but also the deep, disturbing obsession that had driven her to commit such a crime. To understand the full scale of Shopper's descent into this dark world, it's important to first understand who she was, a woman whose life had always seemed to operate on the fringe of the ordinary. Born in the mid-1970s, Kimberly Ann Shopper grew up in the quiet suburban streets of Central Florida, an area where the mundane could easily be mistaken for the extraordinary. The daughter of a school teacher and an engineer, Shopper's childhood was one of stability. Her parents, though loving, were not particularly strange or eccentric, just ordinary, hardworking individuals. But there was something in Shopper that made her different from her peers, something that couldn't be ignored or subdued. Even as a child, she had a fascination with the morbid. It wasn't just a passing curiosity, it was an obsession. While other children played with dolls and action figures, Kimberly was more interested in collecting rocks, fossils, and even small animal bones she would find during her hikes in the woods. Her bedroom was filled with jars of these objects, shells, feathers, and bones meticulously organized and displayed like relics from an ancient civilization. The obsession began early, fueled by a desire to understand the strange, the unknown, and the macabre. Her parents, concerned but unsure how to manage this curiosity, encouraged her academic pursuits. They hoped that perhaps an interest in science or archaeology would channel her fascination into a more conventional path. Kimberly, however, had other ideas. She excelled in school, particularly in subjects like biology and history, but her love for the bizarre grew even stronger during her teenage years. She became particularly enamored with anthropology, the study of human cultures and the physical remains they left behind. It was here that Kimberly's future began to take shape, though not in the way anyone had anticipated. After high school, Kimberly enrolled in college to study anthropology, but it wasn't long before she dropped out, feeling disillusioned with the rigid academic structure. She couldn't understand why there was so much emphasis on theory when there was so much of the world around her to explore, to touch, and to collect. She wanted to be part of that world, not just study it from a distance. So, she did what any self-proclaimed connoisseur of the strange would do. She started her own business. In 2001, Shopper opened her first shop, a small, modest store where she sold antiques and oddities she had scavenged from estate sales, auctions, and other obscure sources. The business grew slowly at first, but Kimberly's true passion began to take shape when she discovered an underground market for more unique items, specifically human remains. It wasn't long before she was making clandestine deals with private collectors, acquiring bones and other body parts, which she then sold through her store. Initially, these bones were relics, old, rare, and ethically sourced from archaeological digs or antique collectors. But over time, that line became blurred. Kimberly's marriage to Gary Shopper, whom she had met in high school, was another area where the cracks began to show. Gary was an unassuming man, quiet, reserved, and supportive of his wife's business ventures. He didn't question her unusual interests, but as the years passed and her obsession deepened, their relationship began to suffer. They had no children, and their home had more in common with a museum of oddities than a family dwelling. Despite their differences, Gary never complained, until the day Shopper's business went too far. He had long turned a blind eye to the strange items his wife brought home, but when human bones started appearing in their living room, Gary began to worry. However, Kimberly had a way of convincing him that her actions were justified, that they were just part of the pursuit of something greater. As business slowed and competitors started offering similar products, Kimberly grew desperate. Wicked Wonderland, once a curiosity shop, became a hub for buyers seeking the most disturbing items imaginable. Shopper expanded her inventory to include not only taxidermy animals and bizarre curiosities, but human remains, bones, skulls, and body parts, all sold without question, all for profit. As technology advanced, so did Shopper's business. The rise of online marketplaces like Facebook Marketplace proved to be a game changer. Shopper took advantage of the anonymity of online sales, setting up listings for human bones without fear of scrutiny. She made sure to craft her advertisements carefully, describing her products as genuine human remains with an almost clinical tone, presenting them as items for education, collection, or artistic purposes. Her online presence grew, and so did her illicit operation. It wasn't long before the authorities got involved. In December 2023, a concerned citizen came forward with screenshots of the illegal listings. Law enforcement quickly opened an investigation, and what they discovered was both unsettling and horrifying. Shopper had been selling human remains to anyone with enough money to purchase them, and some of the bones were older than they had first appeared. Expert forensic analysis confirmed that some remains were over 500 years old, likely from archaeological sites, leading investigators to question how these bones were obtained and whether Shopper had engaged in illegal activities to acquire them. Her arrest in April 2025 came as a shock to the community. The woman who had once been admired for her entrepreneurial spirit was now facing serious charges, including trafficking in human remains. And the dark truth behind Wicked Wonderland was finally exposed for the world to see. Kimberly Shopper's case has become a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked obsession. What began as a fascination with the strange and unusual spiraled into a criminal enterprise driven by greed and desperation. As the investigation continues, authorities are left to untangle the web of deception, greed, and obsession. that led Kimberly Ann Shopper to sell human bones, forever changing the landscape of the macabre and the ethical boundaries of what's acceptable in business. As Shopper faces charges and an uncertain future, the investigation continues. Law enforcement is now examining where the bones originated from and whether there is a wider underground network trafficking in human remains. For Shopper, what started as a passion for the strange and unusual spiraled into a criminal enterprise that put her freedom and future at risk. Her story serves as a chilling reminder of the moral boundaries that can be blurred when greed and obsession take over. In the pursuit of profit and the desire to make her business stand out in a crowded marketplace, Shopper crossed the line between curiosity and crime, proving that, sometimes, the pursuit of the unusual can lead to the unthinkable. As the legal process unfolds, Shopper's once popular business, Wicked Wonderland, stands as a haunting monument to her fall from grace. The fate of the business and its controversial legacy now rests in the balance, while Shopper herself must confront the consequences of her obsession with the macabre and the illegal world she created. Her case has sparked conversations about the regulation of human remains and the ethics of selling such items, as well as the broader issue of how businesses in the morbid and unusual marketplace should be monitored. Shopper's actions have left a scar not just on her community, but on the very fabric of trust that binds society together, proving that sometimes the most grotesque crimes can lurk behind the most innocuous facades. As the investigation into Kimberly Ann Shopper's actions continues to unfold, the chilling details of her descent into criminality have left the community and the nation grappling with a disturbing reality. The darker corners of human curiosity can sometimes lead to the most unspeakable actions. What began as a simple love for the strange and the peculiar morphed into something far more dangerous, as Shopper's obsession with human remains spiraled into a full-blown criminal enterprise. Her shop, Wicked Wonderland, once a haven for the bizarre, will forever be tainted by the actions of its owner, who allowed her desire for profit to cross moral boundaries that many would never dare to imagine. Kimberly's story is not one of a simple mistake, but a deliberate and calculated venture into an underground world of illegal trade. The bones she sold, some ancient and priceless, others belonging to real people, are now a symbol of her obsession, a pursuit of the strange that ultimately destroyed her. The arrest of Shopper, once a respected businesswoman, serves as a stark reminder of the length some will go for profit and the devastating consequences of crossing ethical lines. As we reflect on this tale, it is important to understand the underlying message, a cautionary tale about obsession, greed, and the way they can cloud judgment and drive people to commit heinous acts. The marketplace of human curiosities is far from innocent, and Shopper's actions have exposed the darkness that can lie beneath seemingly harmless interests. The trade of human remains is illegal for a reason, because human life and death are not commodities to be exploited for financial gain. In seeking to profit from the macabre, Shopper lost sight of the basic moral standards that should guide us all. The case of Kimberly Ann Shopper is a disturbing chapter in the world of crime, one that serves as a reminder that even the most innocent-seeming passions can become dangerous when left unchecked. It also sheds light on the growing issue of how modern technology, like online marketplaces, can sometimes make it easier for criminals to exploit the system for personal gain. If you found this story as unsettling as I have, you're not alone. But it's essential to take these stories and turn them into lessons. Lessons on the importance of maintaining boundaries, questioning what we consume, and above all, protecting the dignity of human life. This is just one of many stories I share here on my channel. If you're interested in more true crime mysteries, stories of deception, and the hidden side of human nature, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. On Shadow of Crime Chronicles, we dive deep into the darkest corners of crime, unraveling the truth behind shocking cases like this one. If you enjoyed this episode, please give the video a thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the case, and if you think we are beginning to see a disturbing trend in the market for morbid collectibles. Stay tuned, and remember, There is always more to uncover. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep questioning the world around you.